Hello and welcome to Conversations with Mrs. R. My name is Marian, and I'm so excited today because Mrs. R always brings the best friends, to have conversations with. And today we have new faces because, we're used to our regular players, but Mrs. R has kicked them out. Kick them out. But now, not to worry, we'll bring them back. They escaped, they'll be back. But today I'm really excited because she has new friends. And we have a gentleman in the house, and that brings a smile on my face. Mrs. R, welcome, welcome. I love your friends. Oh. I love your friends, and I get to really talk to people that just teach me every single time. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, welcome to the show as usual. And I have next to you Mayan Effiong. I love your name. It's still in my head. And I've given my daughter a name already. Welcome. It's great to have you
Thank you
on
for
Conversations. And then next to her, I've got someone who I was saying to him, and he was laughing. When I was single, one of the things I was very particular about, and I know you would say is very vain, was the surname of the man I will marry. I'm telling you. Don't judge. We listen, we don't judge. My maiden name was Arthur. So I was marrying Arthur. I was like, I needed that kind of name. And I won't lie. Some people I said no to simply because of their name that was 3 paragraphs. So I met him today and I said, I'm telling you, I have OLADOTUN ANDRE. You understand what I'm saying? His name is Andre.
Sounds like it's from Ivory Coast.
Thank you. So you see, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Mrs. R,
Yes.
this conversation is interesting. It seems normal, but in the time we're in, not so normal.
Yeah.
It's having a 2-parent household.
Yes.
And I know growing up, it was just normal. We expected it.
Yeah.
But we know things are a bit different. Why did you want to shed light on the advantages, I would say, of having a 2-parent household?
Yes. We've had 3 episodes that focused on single parenting and 1-parent households. So I felt that it would be inconclusive if we didn't feature 2-parent homes, particularly because for me, that's the biblical example we see. We see that in the Garden of Eden. And even when God gave the Israelites the 10 Commandments, I'm sure he knew that they wouldn't keep the 10 Commandments, but they needed a rudder. They needed a compass that would guide them through life. And so it seems to me that everywhere you turn, it's almost like we're promoting single-parent homes above the ideal. So it became very important that we should have this and bring to the studio this discussion with people who also grew up in both parent homes. Yes.
Okay. So very important because, like you said,
Yeah.
we don't want it to seem like that's just, single parenthood can happen for different reasons. But we
Yes.
also want to say this is what God intended when he started it.
Correct.
I'm going to come to you, Mayan. Talk to me about growing up in a 2-parent household, how it has shaped you, the advantages you saw for yourself growing up, and looking back, you know that this was because I came from a 2-parent household.
Well, my mother and father were different. They had unique strengths. And it was easy to go to one person when the other person was a bit hard. I know that sometimes that can seem like taking advantage of somebody that you think is softer. But my father was extremely generous. My mother was one who always saved. She saved the little, she saved the big, anything she saved. So that helped with financial balance in the home. I learned that from my mother. My father, like I said, was extremely generous. I learned to be generous from my father. Now, if I had only one parent, then I would have only one of those benefits.
And benefits.
I would also speak about their temperaments. My mother would scream at everything. Oh, and why did you do this? Why didn't you do better? And you would feel discouraged. I remember she told me when I had all D's in JSS, all these distinctions. I wrote her a letter because we got the results when we got back to school. I wrote her a letter telling her I had all D's, putting my results
You're
in.
so excited.
Yes, when I spoke to her on the phone, she told me that, why won't I get all these? When I'm spending my time talking on the phone at home, she's sure I talk. I spend my time talking in school. Meanwhile, this was all distinctions.
Distinctions. She didn't
I
realize.
thought you were talking about
No,
distinctions.
How fantastic.
But if that was my father, even if he thought they were D's, as in D's below C's, he would call you and ask you,
What happened?
What happened? Why did you do, why didn't you do better? Why didn't you do well? He would take you on a walk and he would say, let's talk. So there was that balance. So in my opinion, two-parent homes give a balance. They give two parents support each other. There's collaboration, But if it's just one parent, many people find themselves in those situations. However, is it the most ideal thing? And is that God's original intention? I would say no, because growing up in a two-parent home, there were a lot of benefits. Family, extended family on both sides as well. In a one-parent home, you have situations, especially if, in situations of strife, where the other part of the family, maybe the mother has left and the mother's family isn't close to the child at all, But in my family, we have an extended family that has come together.
Together.
Yes, my mother's family and my father's family. So I have cousins who are like my sisters on both sides of the family. And so there's so many people to go to for support because of, the closeness of my parents and the fact that their families also grew close. So I think there are lots of benefits of two-parent. It goes without saying.
Okay, I like the examples of your parents and the benefits and how they affected you. And I'm going to come to you, Doctor, you and your wife. What are those things that you know? Because she's talked about her parents and how it affected her and how the balance was there for her growing up. What's the kind of balance you see you and your wife giving your children?
Um, so first, I'd like to quote a scripture, if you would permit me. Genesis, I think 2:18, and I like the Passion Translation, and it says, so this is when God looked at Abraham, right, and said he was alone. Prior to that, in Genesis 1, after every creation, the Bible will say God looked at it and it was good. But in 2:18, the Bible looked at Adam and he said, it is not good that he should be alone. But the profound thing that scripture highlights is that he said, I will find him a suitable helper that will be his helper and his strength. And that is what my wife brings to the table, even though she's the female. But there's a strength that a woman brings to certain situations. I'll give you an example. Sometimes when my kids, really do something to upset me that I have to bring out the cane, because it's not every time, right? It is my wife that will subtly tell me, I know they deserve the beating and everything. Go and talk to her. Go and talk to your daughter. Do you understand? And over time in the relationship, I've learned to listen when she gives such advices. And I've seen the benefit of, beating a child and bringing them closer and explaining, like you alluded to, Ma, that place of explanation. So this is where the balance is talking about comes into play, right? There are times where you just lose it. But the fact that you have someone that is out of the picture and has that calm disposition, exactly, that can tell you that, yes, you're not wrong, but there's a better way. So those are the benefits that, the tangible benefits that you get from a true parental.
Coming from a two-parent household as a child and having a two-parent household as a parent to your children, how did the advantages that Mayan talked about growing up help your decision, even having your home, to come from a two-parent household and having a two-parent household now? How did those advantages that you talked about influence your home now?
My experience when my dad speaks to me calmly, I find myself listening to what he says and doing what he asks. And I'll give you an example if we have time. So if I remember when we moved into our own house, they built their own house. We were staying in a flat before, and we moved into a duplex. So then chores were very difficult because you have to go downstairs. So it was stressful. So we'll be watching TV at night. Maybe it's not a school night. And my mom wants a cup of water. My mom will come. You guys are still awake at this time. What are you doing? This is, you will not sleep on time. We just switch off that TV and go inside. But before you go inside, go and get me a cup of water. What she wants is that cup of water. If you give her that cup of water and go back to watching TV, there's no problem. But listen to my dad. My dad will come and say, hey guys, are you watching a video or is it live? It is a video. Can you please? And my dad normalizes using those kind of words. Can you please pause it? Please, I need a cup of water. Please was easy. You know, it was a natural thing for us. And I find myself, even before he finishes that, you know, the request, I'm already down. I've gotten the water and everything. So I knew how I felt when my father, that is meant to be the head of the house, uses subtle words like please, help. So I know that telling my children, please help, they will have that same feeling. I saw the impact it made in my life, right? So that's one of the things I learned from my dad.
That is such a wonderful example and how you see how the ripple effect is happening to your kids. That's amazing. I want to ask kind of like a difficult question. So we know the two-parent household is the ideal. And I'm just going to throw this here. Even though I didn't ask people. I'm listening. I know it's the ideal. I'm actually a two-parent household. I'm with my partner, my husband, I'm a wife, or I'm a husband, I have a wife. But it seems like my two-parent household is more harmful to the children than an advantage because we're bickering all the time. Both of us have created an atmosphere that is so heavy. So is it worth staying to ensure this two-parent household because of the advantages, or am I doing a disservice to these children at the end of the day?
Thank you, Miriam. I'm going to ask you to put a pause on that question because I want to follow a thought from what Dr. has said. And the thought is on patterns. So, you know, when people opt for single-parent homes, in this case, I'm not addressing widows or widowers. What is coming across in today's world seems to be intentional. People who are intentional and determined to raise up children on their own. That's different. But I want to point out that a pattern evolves in a child's mind based on what they've seen in real life. So when you think of a pattern of two-parent homes, it is easy for him and for Mayen to establish that in their own homes and marriages. They've seen it. So the best education is what you have grown up in. So I regret to say that most of the homes now where maybe as a result of divorce, or what necessarily they may not have had control over, but it's important for people to know that sometimes we go about praying prayers of deliverance and curses and breakthroughs, but the simple fact is that what you are living is a pattern, a cycle repeating itself. Because if I grew up in a single-parent home, it's natural to me to function in that way.
It's no big deal.
It's no big deal. So I want to throw it out there cautiously, but in a determined way, that we need to be careful the reason why we make decisions and to step out of marriages. Because today, when you listen to the reason why people are stepping out of marriages, it's like they're not even giving it a thought. Or not looking at the biblical implication and the effect. Yes. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is the effect on children is that they repeat the cycle of what they saw and grew up with. So then back to your question. You're asking if I'm in a two-parent home and it's not working out. There's a lot of strife and the children are there. Is it worth staying or is it not better to step out? I also want to say that marriage has seasons. I don't think there's any one marriage that has been perfect. You have your mountain time experience, you have the valleys, and I think that people have to also bear that in mind, that marriage is not going to be roses all the way. There will be thorns that come with the roses. And even nature speaks to that. A lady came to me a few months ago and said, I'm weighing my options. And I said, what options? What do you mean? She said, oh, my husband is complaining that my sisters come to the house too often and I'm spending more time. So I said, is he beating you up? She said, no. Is he a drunkard? She said, no. Is he on drugs? She said, no. So I said, is he an adulterer? And somebody who's not, he said, none of that. So I said, so there are normal problems that would occur even between friends, that would occur and even more heightened in a marriage where you're living with the same person 24/7. So where the situation is not extremely distressing, then we have to think, is this where a counselor comes in? Is this where I should go to a family member, a pastor? So the point I'm making is people are giving up marriage for little or nothing. And I'm not trying to minimize pain. I'm just putting it out there that there is a price to pay for a marriage to work. And perhaps also I said to that lady, how about the fruit of the Spirit? Could it be that in this journey, you and your husband can learn that the fruit of the Spirit is real, is cultivated, is not given like the gifts of the Spirit? So that would be my reply.
So I like that.
Does it sound harsh?
Yeah. No, not harsh. I actually want to still bring you, still nail you
Nobody
down.
wants to hear that in today's world.
Yes. Yes, because it's the truth that it's a lot of work. I've always said, my mom used to say that marriage is intentional. It's the most intentional decision you make. It's not she says it's not a yes once. It's a yes every single day of your life. You're saying yes to this person no matter what. So she always used to say it was intentional, it was intentional, it was intentional. Okay, I get that. Where do we draw, where I still hold you down? And my is smiling. Where does it become harmful to the children?
I would say, and this is open for discussion, I would say when there's physical abuse, mental abuse is also difficult to bear. And the problem is that you don't see that the person is in pain. But physical abuse would be a difficult thing to expose children to, I think.
And I think because you talked about patterns, it may replay in, because we've heard, I know a friend whose mom said to him, oh, you're hitting your wife too early. Your dad didn't start this early. You've only been married 2 years. And she was like, you're only so fast. But she didn't think it was a bad thing. She was scolding him that, your father didn't start
At least
this
wait
early.
a while.
That's what she said. So, and it stuck in my head. So when you said patterns, I just remember that what she said. Like he probably grew up seeing that. So he started earlier than his father, but that's what he saw.
Yeah.
So.
And another factor would be drug abuse. Because you're exposing the children to the fact that there could be drugs in the house and the effect of drug abuse. It could work negatively or positively. The child may say, God forbid I be like this. Or may see that, well, my father did it. And sometimes they don't really determine to see it that way. It's just that it's a natural function sometimes of growing up, repeating what you see.
Okay, I'm going to come to you, Mayan, and I'm going to come to the issue of patterns, which I think is a running thread now that we're seeing in two-parent household. Growing up with your your father and mother, what are those patterns that you're seeing even replicate in your life as an individual? Just having your father and mother different, but you are seeing patterns in your life.
So, like I said, my parents were different. And, I remember one day I was talking to somebody and just going on and on. Why did you do this? And my father came in and said, "You're like your mother." And even till now, I was saying to my siblings the other day, I said, we have to break patterns, not just concerning health, but concerning the things we do, because that is what we saw. And I try, when somebody does something wrong, I still find that I'm still trying to pull myself back and not go on and on and on, because much as I hated it, my mom would talk, and when my sister and I leave, I'll say to my sister, "What did she say?" Because after some time we switch off. But you see, that thing that I hate or that I hated, I find myself doing it.
Isn't it amazing?
And I'm
you wake up one morning and you're your mother or your father.
Yes.
And that's
As
good.
a
That's
Christian,
happening.
trying to hold myself back and say, no, this is not Christ-like. You cannot, just go on.
And I think I like the fact that because you had two experiences, you can see your mom and your dad, and your dad is even telling you, yeah, you can, and I think that's where the two-parent household is. You can actually see, okay, I'm doing a bit too much. Let me move to the side of being calm and find the sweet spots in between. I want to talk to you about your kids now. So you talked about how your father made you feel. In your home now, your kids, who would they gravitate to? One, if they had a problem that was of their own doing. There's a problem that is from the outside, a problem that you dug the hole yourself and entered. Who would they gravitate towards?
Uh, their mom.
Their mom.
Their mom, and with good reason, with good reason. So I think this let me share why. So my son, right, was the first, and let me say, because I was new as a parent, I disciplined him a lot, right, and over time, I had to get myself together, and because he began to retreat from me, you know. So it's something I'm working on, but because of that, he had pushed him towards his mom. His mom is the one, I think she sets me up anyway. Because I'll be the one to discipline. Then she will now go and meet them, and I say, this is why he did what he did. So it's but to their mom, and let this be like a teaching moment, because as a parent, as a father, I mean, I go to Instagram and I see how men relate with their dads, and it's something that I want to happen in my house. So I'm actually working towards it. But to answer your question, they gravitate towards their mom, but it was my doing, and I'm trying to be better at it.
Can I say that, sometimes even if one parent seems to be firmer, she may also be the easier person to speak to, which is another benefit of two-parent homes. If you cannot speak to one parent in a single parent home, you have nowhere else to go to. So for me, in my home, I think my mom, so tough as she was, it was easier to speak to her. Yes.
I'm interested.
Yes, it was easier to speak to her. So my mom was the kind of person that would, discipline you with one hand and
Call you the other.
yes.
Oh, wow. But for you, it was your father.
I mentioned earlier that Mayen is my first cousin. So I'm just sitting here and recollecting what happened when we were growing up. In my home growing up, my mother was the active disciplinarian, but my dad, the quiet disciplinarian in some ways. But if I had to talk to someone, it would be my dad first. My mom was not very expressive of her emotions, and I think I picked that up. But her method was to provide, to be there, the strong person, anything you wanted. I think there's a way to describe her love language was
Acts of service.
acts of service. Yes. But my dad was the hug one, the one who would want a hug every morning. So if you felt that you wanted the warmth of a parent, it would be my dad I would go to. And he's very happy to put you on his chest, which you would think would sometimes be the role of a mom. But my mother would be, let's get it done. What needs to be done here? We need to be strong. We're going through the season, and she'll make sure everybody is well packaged. And I want to touch on something that Mayen said. She talked about extended family relationships. She's right because, I always tell people, especially when there are problems with in-laws, and it doesn't mean that the people are necessarily wrong or right, but that relationships, it takes a village to raise a child. And you're better off preserving relationships and working at preserving them than walking away. So when we, are growing up, our fathers were brothers. We were told that we were sisters. She's not my cousin. We were told, and there's a third family, so we had 3 families, and we were told that we were not cousins, we were siblings. So it's my responsibility up till now. I think she's my baby sister, even though So we were told that we were to take care of each other financially, emotionally, affectionately, compassionately. It is a responsibility. So that's how we go. And that has helped us because, as she said, it's an extended family of over 30 people. Strengths.
So we're not embracing that now.
We are.
Because I know that for a lot of us, first of all, our parents had 5, 6, 7 children, so you even had a big. Now we're all having like 2, 1,
Yeah.
and even the 2 you have
Are not allowed to interact.
You don't go anywhere. You don't see your cousins. Your auntie is a stranger.
So I think that parents have to be intentional. For instance, my sister brings her kids to Nigeria, and she used to bring them every 2 years to come and meet her cousins. Her cousins on her father's side, on their father's side, her cousins on our side.
Yeah.
So they are friends with their cousins. So they live in the US, but they have cousins in Nigeria that they know and know well.
I think
So it has to be intentional.
And that's also a pattern repeating itself.
Yeah.
So we are doing that with our children.
So that they connect. Do you think we're missing that, or is
Definitely. My maternal grandfather had 22 kids. So
Oh wow.
imagine how many cousins that we had. So when we will have parties, just the family alone, we've packed out.
And when you need
Well-
to make contributions, it's spread. Yes.
So I mean, and it was such that my mom didn't need to do anything. If I misbehave, her sister takes it on.
That's what we're missing.
You understand? And you have to listen as if it's my mom, right? Even with my uncle. So it was, like you said, Mrs. R, it was a community raising each and every one of us.
Which is so different now.
Yeah.
Because now you're thinking about it. I remember even when you had to do something, oh my God, this used to annoy me, the fact that mommy would say, have you told auntie this? Have you told auntie that? I'm like, okay,
What's their
auntie.
business?
If I do another thing you used to do, your first salary, I don't know if you would do that. You shared it with everybody. In fact, nothing came
You
out.
know the worst one?
I have PTSD.
You know the worst one? The worst one is when you do bad in school. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
Everybody
It's announced.
knows. All the aunties, all the cousins.
And once they come, here you come. Your mother has already finished scolding you. Every auntie that comes will take their own time.
Open
to
the
scold
wound.
you. That whole holiday, they will come, and I heard you didn't pass. Then you start again, then your mom will join. Then your mother will keep quiet like I said, it was not hard as spread. But it was, so you knew that you were
Yes.
working hard, not just for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yes.
But are we saying that now you couldn't even talk? You can't even talk to somebody. It's
This
amazing.
child, yes.
We're losing a lot, aren't we? And I think when Maya says being intentional
Yes.
is very important. My nieces say something, say all of us, they say, my sisters and I, we are SSS, that no matter whilst they are thinking of what they want to do,
You know.
we all know. But when they tell us, Auntie, I just want to, I know you already know, but I'm like, wait, tell me. I said, she said, Auntie, please, man, don't scream. You already know. Mommy, I already told you, and you know the color. You know, but it's also a pattern from growing up that
Yeah.
your aunties knew everything about you. So generally, you know everything about your nieces and nephews. It was really wonderful talking. I have a smile on my face. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being here.
Thank you
Mayan,
for
it
having
was
me.
wonderful having you. And of course, Mrs. R, thank you for bringing your amazing friends as usual. I do hope that this conversation, you've learned a bit from it. And for everyone out there who is in a two-parent household, you're already on a good track. If there are difficulties, like Mrs. R says, look at the actual facts of the matter. Are there things that you can bear to ensure that the benefits come out of it? And remember, patterns come on each other. So if you learnt this, it's going to happen again. So it's very important to be intentional when you're raising kids, even as a two-parent household. So don't think your shoulder is up because, well, I have a father, I have a husband, and so I'm better. No, there's still intentionality in raising your kids so that the right patterns are reproduced in your children. Thank you so much for being a part of Conversations with Mrs. R. I'll be glad to see you the next time we're having a conversation. My name is Marian. It's been a pleasure and a definite privilege.